Rounds 4-10, Matthew Costello.
Okay, 10 seconds. Just be quiet there for a second, Conley. It's a cold and crisp night in Dublin for this Electric Ireland Sigerson Cup Round 2 encounter of DCU Dóchas Éireann and Queen's University Belfast. It was a game that just didn't want to be played over the last couple of days. Initially it was supposed to go ahead on Tuesday night at the Dub in Belfast, a fantastic arena. It was supposed to go ahead then again on Thursday, having been postponed due to a frozen pitch. Unfortunately that couldn't happen, so here we are at the DCU Sports Grounds. DCU now the hosts up against Queen's University, now the visitors. Queen's opened up with a good win against Jordanstown last week. Many people did not see that one coming. DCU had a fairly emphatic victory against ATU Donegal. With me for this one, Conleth Gilligan. Conleth, what are you expecting?
Yeah, look, I think probably unfortunate for Queens that they've lost home advantage. You know, it's definitely worth a point or two if the game had been in the Dub. They're already underdogs, so all the advantages for DCU tonight. But look, there is a lot of talent on this Queens team. I suppose the Derry contingent I'd know well, and obviously Dan Higgins scoring 3 points the last day is a massive return. He's a midfielder, he's a frame of a midfielder, but he's been playing at wing half forward, and you know, he's really showing what he's about.
What about DCU? They've got some real standout players, including Robert Finnerty of Galway. He's already played in an All-Ireland final. He excelled as an underage player. Conor Corbett, another one who excelled as an underage player with Cork, winning underage All-Irelands, and he probably would already be excelling as a senior player for Cork, only for injury, but you get the feeling that will happen this year.
Yeah, look, that full forward line is the danger today for Queens. You know, obviously Rob Finnerty the last day got 2-3, you know, and you add into that Conor Corbett at 1-2, Lorcan O'Dell, you know, would be well known with Dublin at 1-4, so whether Queens can stem that ball in, that's going to be the problem. You can see in the warm-up already, DCU are kicking loads and loads of long ball in their warm-up, but just suggests that that's the way they want to play. If they can get ball there, look, serious danger. You know, Masterson, you know, Conor Brady, Calvin Mann, loads and loads of talent. So look, this is a star-studded team, but Queens have their own players that can cause real damage up front, you know, especially when you look at the, you know, the likes of Lorcan McWilliams and Keelan Friel. Really good players, probably lesser known, but really, really talented.
We're not entirely sure who's starting for Queen's University yet. DCU have given us their starting 15. There has been so much change, I'll actually read it out to you. It is O'Hanlon in goal, then Crean, Hughes and Grant across the full back line. Hughes, of course, an established player with Wexford. Grant, a Donegal man. Matthew Costello of Meath is alongside PJ Masterson and Alex Byrne in the half-back line. That's Meath, Longford and Kildare combining. It's Offaly and Wicklow in midfield. Bill Carroll playing with Kevin Quinn. Quinn would have played under Oisin McConville with Wicklow already this season in the O'Byrne Cup. Then it's Donegal, Meath and Longford in the half-forward line. Shane O'Donnell, Shane Walsh and Keelan McGann, with Dublin's Lorcan O'Dell at corner forward, and as already mentioned, Conor Corbett of Cork at full forward and Rob Finnerty at corner forward. That's quite the stellar lineup, but we've mentioned the guys who can score. At the back it's incredibly strong as well. A lot of inter-county experience there.
Yeah, look, lots on both sides. Obviously, you know, McBride, son of full forward Kieran, who's obviously switched positions there in the Queen's team, and then on the other side, you know, the likes of Jamie Grant, you know, as I said, Conor Brady, really good players. Thomas Crean, players that have county experience at all levels. And this is the thing. Like, I know there's a crowd building up here, but the Sigerson Cup is a competition where you can see players from different counties, and it's really, really well supported here tonight.
Well, a Friday night will mean that there's not as big a crowd as there might have been on a weeknight, either here or at the Dub, but you can watch from the comfort of home, and right now in this cold, that seems pretty tempting.
Yeah, it is, and the conditions are perfect, other than the cold. You know, the pitch is in great condition. Obviously the game couldn't have been played in Belfast, but down here, very little breeze, both ends, you know, pitch is looking exceptionally well, so I think it will lead for a good game of football. It just remains to be seen, will Queens go for it, or will they try and just keep DCU at bay for as long as they can and then see if they can get it near the end.
Don't forget, you can join us on social media. You can get involved in the conversation. Just include the hashtag FirstClassRivals. We'd love to hear from you. It is DCU Dóchas Éireann up against Queen's University Belfast. What will that victory against Ulster University, or Jordanstown as they're more commonly known, do for the confidence of Queen's coming into this game?
Yeah, look, it would be massive because there's a lot of intermingling of different counties coming together. So there would have been county players against county players, club players against club players. So that would be massive. The fact that the game went to the wire, they won by a point and they held on, that'd be a big win, because obviously the bragging rights, Jordanstown probably would have had the more household names in terms of the Cannamans, but again, just the cohesion of the Queen's team that night was probably the difference. And again, it was Tiernan Bogue that night who stepped up, who has been brilliant all year for them. He has stepped up with a winning point, and look, there'll be a lot expected of him tonight.
Good conditions, the pitch in perfect condition, I have to say as well. We walked it earlier on. It is very solid underfoot, and obviously didn't get as affected by the weather as the one up in the Dub in Belfast. Queens just out of their huddle and about to take their positions. It is DCU Dóchas Éireann against Queen's University in the Electric Ireland Sigerson Cup. Our referee, by the way, is Andrew Smith.
You're already seeing there's lots of different changes and different numbers from the programme, so it's going to take a few minutes just to sort that all out.
Well, Paddy McCarthy is involved for Queen's, wasn't named to start, but you know all about him. Played for the Burn, reached the county final in 2021.
Yeah,
your what was then your Kilcoo team pretty close in that final.
Yeah, Paddy would be an attacking corner back, so if a player does come out and go around the middle and he goes out with him, he'll cause danger. He can score, obviously involved with the down squad, and he played against Derry in the McKenna Cup during the week.
And we're underway, and it is Queens who get the first possession. O'Hare. A still night, by the way, not much breeze. Running onto it there is Dan Higgins. He was excellent last week, and he can deliver. He can also score. Well read by the defender. Bit of a bump there, but Pádraig Hughes is well used to that. Pádraig Hughes, as they call him, David O'Hanlon. Obviously has that experience with Dublin. And DCU build up the park. Bill Carroll. A speedy burst by Grant, the Donegal man. And that's Lorcan O'Dell. Another one who might come deep, Conleith, and kind of make it happen for other forwards rather than taking on shots himself. DCU win the free in.
Yeah, he will, because like already Queens have just got bodies back and they've just protecting the top of the D, which you'd expect with that full forward line.
That's a brilliant shot and a fantastic finish. Finnerty, who else scored 2 goals last week, has added another one tonight.
Yeah, and the danger. Lorcan O'Dell came out and won the free, launched it in long, and it cleared the first 2 sweepers, and it was just a turn left off his left foot. Brilliant finish, and that really has set them up. Great goal by Finnerty.
Well, he's a poacher supreme, Robert Finnerty.
And again, that just makes a difficult job for Queens all the more harder now.
Ball breaks kindly for Queens, taking it as Finnegan of Antrim. Higgins wanted it. He was well covered. DCU moving en masse to get behind the ball. O'Hare spilled, but he's more than enough time to gather it again. That was Lorcan McBride. We spoke to his dad, who's here tonight.
Yeah, Kieran McBride was a brilliant full forward. Lorcan obviously going into defence, and it's a case now that Queens really need to get the next score, because it's important that they just keep a bit of momentum here. Obviously DCU have put a lot of players behind the ball, as Queens did, but they need to start breaking through.
McAvoy gave it to Higgins. Higgins goes for the delivery again. One number 15 has got a goal. Unfortunately, the number 15 on the other team, Luke Donnelly, didn't manage to even get a proper shot away there. He is a decent footballer though. That won't be the last you'll see of him tonight.
Yeah, and look, he just snatched at it. He had time, and he just so desperate to have a go, and he had a go, and it just wasn't at the right time.
And McAvoy and McCarthy are 2 late changes for Queens. McAvoy, another player you'd know all about from your adventures in Down. That's dropped inside by Hughes and buried again.
Yeah.
Well, what a start for DCU.
Yeah,
2 long balls have undone Queens.
I think it was maybe Keelan Masterson there with the ball over the top, but again,
yeah, it was Keelan McGann got in for the finish, and a fantastic ball delivered in.
Yeah, and look, that just means, you know, no matter how many players you have, the right ball over the top and a crossfield ball at that, it just cut out 3 sweepers, and again, great finish, and just it gets more difficult.
Hughes delivering for McGann. Wexford and Longford working together. They're under pressure here. It's McAvoy who overcarries it, and it's a free in for DCU. It's already looking like it's a long night for Queens. Keep in mind, they won't go out of the competition even if they lose tonight, but the route does become harder.
Yeah, it does, and the problem is DCU pushed heavy up in the kick out, and there just wasn't enough movement, and while Brady or Cassidy will get the blame for that. You know, there just wasn't enough movement, but we're looking back at that goal again, just the movement was first class.
And that's gone over, and it's Finnerty who's now on 1-1.
Yeah, look, Finnerty has just started where he left off the last day. 2-3 the last day. Again, that's his first free of the game, and just the confidence. He kicked it really high over the bar. Just really great technique. Again, I think Queens are just trying to slow the game down here now, so they're only have the one ball and just trying to keep it down, but there's a heavy press on from DCU. They went real man to man.
2-1 without reply. DCU have got off to a great start. Met by the big fist of Bill Carroll. Picked up off the ground and a free for DCU. They want to take it quickly. Cleverly there, Liam Downey just hung on to it.
Yeah, I think Andrew Smith was a wee bit harsh there. I think there was a bounce in it, but that doesn't matter.
DCU probing again. The shot coming from full forward Connor Corbett, but it was blocked down and prevented from going out for a 45.
Yeah, and at this stage, DCU are just playing it on their own terms. You know, they're pushing heavy on. Queen's done really well to get away quick with Cassidy there.
Carrying it out is Sean McCarthy. Driving on Tiernan Bogue from Fermanagh, the medicine student. Intercepted by a DCU hand, but comes back to Bogue somehow. He is the kind of player you want on the ball from the Queen's point of view. In support is Diarmuid Baker, who won an All-Ireland club title with his club, Steelestown Brinogue.
Yeah, and Masterson for DCU straight away. As soon as he pushed up on the kick, but as soon as the kick left, he just ran diagonal just to the top of the D, just to try and make it safe. And again, this is going to be really, really important here. Really important free. I think it's Downey on his left foot.
Another game that was kind of bounced around due to the poor weather conditions was Ulster University and ATU Donegal. That has now been fixed for Ballinderry at 12 p.m. on Sunday. So if you're at nothing around that area on Sunday afternoon, why not go along? That's a wide for Queens. They needed that.
Yeah, and look, it was a difficult free, but it's one that they just needed to keep in touch.
Goalkeeper spread it out well. Hughes took it even better. O'Hanlon, and he's been studying Stephen Cluxton up close. Shane Walsh, not to be confused with Galway Shane Walsh, who'll feature for Climacud Crokes on Sunday in the All-Ireland Club final. Lorcan O'Dell, so good with the ball. Popped it off, lovely run. That was Alex Byrne who was coming into it. Finnerty takes it. Recycled well. Shane O'Donnell. Shane Walsh. Bit of a hit, but it didn't make much of a difference. PJ Masterson. Free out for Queens and a bit of relief. They worked hard there, they got back.
Yeah, and again, I think that evens up the decision that went against them there. I think probably DCU would have been looking that in, but it's also been pulled back, so the advantage was played.
That's good battling. Mallon tried to sidestep through his Finnegan. Wins a free in. There was only one player in a dangerous position and he was well covered.
Yeah, I think Queens have put so much energy into trying to defend that it's going to be very hard for them to get up the field. DCU look to be a wee bit more organised in that. They can keep the depth with Hodell coming out playing as a half forward.
Finnegan. Finnegan gets a bit of space. Surrounded, recycles. O'Hare. It's risky enough, but it works out. They need to get something here. Dan Higgins. Higgins is being closed down. They know how much of a shooting threat he is. O'Hare. He's not afraid to run at defenders, is he, O'Hare?
Yeah, I think, look, they're trying to run a lot of ball. I think they just probably need to take the sting out of it. They're always going into contact. I think they probably need to avoid it because they don't have the physicality for this DCU defence.
McCarthy, short pass running onto it, McAvoy. This is better. Donnelly. Tiernan Bogue wrapped up, keeps his composure. By hook or by crook, he got that pass away to Donnelly, who sails it over.
Yeah, brilliant score. Again, it was Bogue who took the ball into contact. Luckily, whenever he was turned over, it came on to Donnelly with his outside of the left. Technique was brilliant, and they really needed that score.
Well, they've had to wait, but they have got their first score, and as you say, Conley, they really, really needed it. Now, they don't want to concede. Statement of the obvious, I know. Shane Walsh got to it. Here's McGann. Finnerty sells the dummy well. Finnerty so tricky with the ball. O'Donnell trying to get onto it is O'Dell, and he was being fouled. His arm was being held as he went after that ball.
Yeah, I suppose it was on the softer side of the freeze, but look, it was a pullback. But again, it was just the movement of Finnerty. He dragged everybody out and just a solo dummy in the left and in. And again, the movement of the DCU forward line is brilliant. A lot of the stuff you can't see off the camera. They're making long runs, really unselfish runs, and it's making it very difficult for Queens to mark that up.
Finnerty's having a fine night. He's now scored 1-2 already.
Yeah, look, you know, once he takes it out, he drew another man with him, and then obviously in that, it was just a wee quick dink ball in, and again a free. Queens really in possession from this one.
Cassidy trying to get under it there for DCU was Costello. He committed the foul and it's a free for Queens.
Yeah, and obviously they've looked at Dan Higgins as being the danger for kickouts. So Costello is going to Dan Higgins for every kickout, and they're just matching up there, and they're very physical, both in terms of size.
Really fine defending. Queens thought they should have had a free. Referee says nothing doing. Crean. O'Hanlon. Plenty of players, both long and short, if you wanted to do either. Is that a foul? Referee says yes, it was. Finnerty going down.
Yeah, nothing's going. Like, and I know it was McCarthy, I think, caught him that time. And look, when you look at what happened at the other end, very similar. There was a bit of a coming together. You know, Queens didn't get the free. Rob Finnerty did get the free, so that's just the danger. And whenever it's going for you, it's always going. And at the minute, Queens just need to cut out the scoreable frees.
Well, I'm sure it's a debate that Paddy Christie is glad didn't have to happen, but if Galway had beaten Mayo in the FBD League semi-final, you wonder, would he be in the Air Dome tonight? Yeah,
look, and that's the thing, you know, at this stage, you talk about player welfare. There's an awful lot of players here have played an awful lot of football over the last 5-6 days.
Well, Donnelly brought Queens back into it with that point, but since that, Finnerty has nailed 2 frees. O'Hare calls the mark. Great catch.
Yeah, and that's the first time they switched the kick out there, and they got great joy from it.
But unfortunately the pass didn't match the catch, and that's a launcher. So dangerous with that long ball. It was Kevin Quinn trying to find Finnerty, but he's surrounded by 2. Coming away with it, Rory Donnelly.
Yeah, and you look at that there, and it looked like he was pushed to the ground, and that was probably more free than the previous 2 he'd got.
Well, going down there was McAvoy.
Yeah, there could be a wee bit of trouble coming here because McAvoy did break the tackle, so I wouldn't be surprised if this could be the first black card of the game.
He's having a word with Kevin Quinn of Wicklow.
The only thing was, if it was adjudged to have taken him round the neck, it will be a yellow. And it is a black. Yeah, and this is now where Queens kind of have to make this count, because obviously they'll have 10 minutes. They're going to have to really go for it.
Kevin Quinn helped Blessington end a 38-year wait for Baltinglass, I beg your pardon, end a 38-year wait for a senior football title in 2021.
Yeah, and the thing is now, it's how they reorganise, because obviously they had a sweeper. Do they push on and go for it? Obviously, DCU's going to try and kill the clock here and just make it right till he gets back on again.
Tiernan Bogue involved in everything good Queens do. Here's Finnegan. So many yellow jerseys between him and the ball. DCU get back. Their fitness is fairly impressive. Bogue had a runner in front, but he was covered. Bogue hangs on to it. Juggling it there in the corner was Dan Higgins. Higgins has Bogue as an option, and it's a free out. The referee says he threw it.
Yeah, I think the Queen's management and subs below us here were getting very irate. I can understand why. There didn't look to be much wrong with that, but it's went against them, and now it's a serious attack from DCU.
DCU on the move. What can they do with this one? It's McGann again. Going down off the ball was Corbett. Referee says play on. Cassidy looks to me like he's fouled. Free out.
Yeah, but all this just takes the sting out of the 10 minutes where they now have the extra man, so they really need to move the ball quick, and that's a bad mistake by Cassidy. A
very bad mistake. Will he be punished? The answer is yes. What a score that is.
Yeah, look, it was just a needless turnover, and whenever Queens needed a calm head, it was just rushed. I can understand why he wanted to get away, but like, that's just a massive point to be given away. I think that was Larkin O'Dell.
They're on the march again. Shane O'Donnell. He's getting a lot of ball and dealing with it well. Keelan McGann. Byrne. Another shot from a tight angle. This time it doesn't go over.
Yeah, and that's actually their first wide of the half, you know, and they've kicked really well. Probably that one's outside the scoring zone, but again, it's just the inability to get their own kick out that's really costing them at the moment.
A long bursting run from Baker. Downey has to go backwards. Spots Finnegan, who's beaten to it. The move breaks down. Finnegan, much to his credit, wins it back.
Yeah, and it's just the basic errors that's letting Queens down at the moment. DCU, their handling's a bit slicker, their first touch is a wee bit better. You know, Queens just look a wee bit more unsure of what they want to do with the ball. They want to run some of them, but it's a hard way. This is a big pitch. It's going to be very hard to keep running ball all night.
Sean McCarthy got the pass away. Another McCarthy on the ball, looking for Mallon. He does find Mallon. Mallon has a couple of runners inside, but again they have to go out. O'Hare, that'd be some score if it went over, but unfortunately for him it doesn't.
Yeah, and that's what happens, unfortunately. The wee bit of space was there and O'Hare just tried to have a go at it, and he wasn't in the right position. He was under a wee bit of pressure, and all it does is eat up into the clock. And as you can see, the goalkeeper's taking his time for the kick out, and you know, in terms of, they've already sort of got 4 minutes on the clock to their back. Queens have made nothing of the extra man just as of yet.
Callum O'Hare from Killeavy in Armagh, part of the Queens panel last year. Killeavy, of course, home of the great Stevie from Killeavy.
And they could do with Stevie tonight in this forward line, because they really need to get them moving.
Great catch. They look cohesive. Sometimes with college teams that can be difficult to get, given the individual commitments of the players and the level that they're playing at. O'Donnell again laying it off now. It's Shane Walsh.
Yeah, and look, in terms of how they're setting up, you know, they look to have as you use the word cohesion, I think you're right. There's a bit of a chemistry up front. You know, Finnerty and O'Dell seem to just bounce off each other. When O'Dell comes out, Finnerty drops in, and that long kick is always on, and it's always a diagonal from left to right usually, and it's paid dividends because they've got 2 goals and a point out of that same type of kick.
John McGovern missing for Queens. Anyone who doesn't know John McGovern, he's basically a superstar at any sport he tries to play. Has played international soccer for Northern Ireland and is much in demand. Goes to Queens, and his speed is really missing for Queens tonight. If they had him, they could unpick that DCU lock. They have won it free here.
And in terms of even the big miss, obviously he's a Ballyholland club man. Like, he's massive. He hasn't really played much in the last year or two at senior level, and I would imagine Conor Laverty would love to have him involved for Down.
He'll have to join the queue for his services. He could go across the water and play soccer. He could play in the Irish League. He's already, as I say, played Gaelic football to a high level and association football to a high level. Queens have a free. They're going to work it. Again, DCU dropped 14 behind the ball. Still down to 14 at the moment. Here's Donnelly. Donnelly tried to lay it off, but there was just so many bodies in the way. They haven't given up on it, but DCU win the free out.
Yeah, and the big thing about DCU is not that they get bodies behind the ball, but it's how they break out. They're breaking out in numbers and 2s and 3s, whereas in Queen's players, they're having to run it into tackles and going to have to do a lot of work.
Crean left it behind, the referee calling it back.
Yeah, and I think it'd be a tad fortunate from that as well.
Crean, who came off the bench for Roscommon in the FBD League win over Sligo last weekend.
Yeah, and it just touches, like, these players, there's an awful lot asked of them, especially Sigerson and the timing with obviously the provincial competitions that are running just before the National League.
Jamie Grant on the move. A 2019 Ulster Minor Club finalist with Termon.
Oh, there's a bit of trouble coming here. That was very late. The ball had just left, so there's definitely a card. I would imagine it will be a yellow, but it was very, very late.
Well, they hit on Keelan McGann. Queens making a change themselves as well. Bringing in Peter McGrain, an Armagh man.
Yeah, and look, at this stage, something has to change. There has to be a bit of give somewhere. Obviously, the danger is if they start pushing out, they leave room for O'Dell and Finnerty, and even beyond that, when you look at the likes of Corbett, has been quiet by his own standards, so they're just so dangerous in there. You can't leave them for a moment. The question will be just what Andrew Smith, the referee, does here with in terms of a card.
It's a long way away, but I think that's a black card.
Yeah, in terms of the interpretation of the black card, there was no advantage. It wasn't cynical in the sense that it was stopping the play. The ball was already away, so I'm not really sure whether the black was actually the right card, but look, that was the one that Andrew Smith has produced, and I suppose it leaves it 14 men apiece now.
Well, unfortunately for Liam Downey, he will get a temporary rest that he didn't want to get, the Derry man. And for the moment, it's 14 on 14.
And he's going for this free. It's a long way out.
He has the distance. Not the accuracy on this occasion, unfortunately. It was worth the punt. There is no real breeze to speak of out there.
Yeah, there's not, but again, the pitch here is very, very wide, and once you get a free kick out of the sideline, as it showed in the first half, that whenever Donnelly kicked his, it's very difficult. You nearly need to be in around the top of the D to have the distance.
He'll always have a go, Shane Walsh, the Meath man. And a free in for DCU, which they take quickly again, but they'll have to come back. Finnerty thought he was away again. He's really frustrated.
Yeah, I'd say it's a hot ball. He probably took it from the wrong position. He sort of moved forward with it, perhaps. Or it's not. It's been pulled back. Malin has said something here.
Or Malin, who won a Tyrone Senior Championship with Dungannon Clarks. Getting a speaking to from the referee there. Did you see a card?
Yeah, no, I don't think he produced a card. I think it's probably just a warning.
Walsh this time chooses to work it. Wants to get it back. Doesn't. That was good work from Queens.
Yeah, look, and they've got bodies back, but it's coming out here. They're breaking in numbers, but they're having to carry every ball.
Donnelly is fouled.
Yeah, and Donnelly probably has been the pick of the players tonight. Obviously, he has scored their point, but he has been the one player who's constantly looked for the ball and showed.
Rory Donnelly, Higgins in front of him. Interesting to see Walsh running back into a space and kind of cover a patch of the pitch rather than a player, but it forced Queen's to go the other way.
Yeah, look, defensively, you know, I suppose it'd be no surprise with a Paddy Christie team, but they're really well set up. Everybody knows what they're doing. There's no gaps left, and again, they've left Rob Finnerty and Corbett in, and like if they can turn over ball, it could be very dangerous for Queens here.
McAvoy, son of Ulster secretary Brian. O'Hare. Donnelly wants it and gets it. Lays it off. Tiernan Bogue. Donnelly, great take. Donnelly is fouled, and finally Queens get a break.
Yeah, they get a free and just at the top of the day, and it's one that you would expect them to score, but in a night like this, you know, everything's getting difficult. The game's been going against them a wee bit, so they just need to keep in touch with every score they can get.
More Electric Ireland Sigerson and Fitzgibbon Cup action coming up next week. The draw for the Sigerson Cup games will be made after this game, so we're not sure which matches we're bringing you next week, but we will let you know. Just keep an eye on the social media channels. In the Fitzgibbon Cup, bit of a cracker for you, a Limerick derby, TUS Midwest taking on UL. That's next week. Keep an eye on the social media channels for more.
Yeah, and this is really important now. Luke Donnelly standing over the ball. Obviously, they really need this score. The game just kind of getting away from them, because after this play, DCU will be back to 15 men again.
Have you forgiven Luke Donnelly and Derry for stopping Derry getting to 5 Ulster Minor finals in a row in 2019? He scored 1-6 against Derry.
Yeah, look, you know, probably one of those younger players from English that, you know, are really going really well. Obviously had a great season with English, obviously losing a semi-final of the Intermediate Championship, but he's one player in Tyrone that they're really hopeful for.
And that's an important score. DCU tried to respond with a bit of interest. PJ Masterson on the run. Hughes. He's got a lovely stride, Hughes, and that's a really good pass. Just squirts out of the hands of O'Dell, who regathers, tries to poke it through, finds his man. And it's a well taken point in the end. Shane O'Donnell.
Yeah, and like the thing with Lurgan O'Dell, most players in that position would have been content to kick their own point after doing really well. The wee incisive pass, you know, he was really looking Shane O'Donnell in for a goal there, and that was brilliant, and that's the difference in the two teams. The creativity up front is just incredible from DCU.
Finnegan works its way out to Friel, goes to ground, bounces back up, but unfortunately without the ball. DCU in behind again. It's Finnerty.
Finnerty.
He was, well, he got a bit of luck with the bounce. It is a second goal for Finnerty, a third for DCU.
Yeah, and the harder you work, the luckier you get. Finnerty there, look, just calmness, composure. Again, it was the high press from DCU that turned the ball over, as they've done time and time again. And whenever Cassidy come approaching, the only place Finnerty could do was chip him and off the post, and then an incredible score.
I mean this in the best possible way. He is just the stereotype cocky forward, isn't he? Why wouldn't he be, when he's got the talent that he does and the ability that he does?
Yeah, and possibly in a team in the Galway team that is Shane Walsh, maybe he doesn't get shown his repertoire of skills, but like what he has showed tonight, like he is the best player on the pitch by some distance.
A great player. Played Electric Ireland Sigerson Cup football with NUIG as well. Now with DCU, he's in his second year here. Alex Byrne.
Well done, Luke! Well done, Luke!
Bill Carroll. Luke Donnelly stood him up, but Carroll got the pass away anyway. That's intercepted, well read by Sean McCarthy.
But just as you look, the press is heavy. You know, there's nobody just running back. Every ball's contested from a DC point of view, and Queens are having to work really hard just to get out of their own defence.
McBride. Bit of a hopeful ball. It was really well read by Crean. Then collected by Shane Walsh.
Yeah, it was, and like it was, I think it was Downey that got in behind there, and it was on, but like it was going to have to be pinpoint perfect.
That's a fantastic take.
Oh, yeah.
Corbett
I think
foul, free in.
Again, some of the decisions have been strange now. If anything, it looked like there was a nudge on the back. It possibly should have been a free for Queens coming out, but maybe the referee seen a pull before that we didn't catch.
Low trajectory, but it has the intended effect. Another point for DCU.
Yeah, and at this stage already it's looking very much like damage limitation. You know, Queens haven't just been able to get enough possession. The heavy press and the kick out added into the pressure, always on the ball. DCU, obviously they kicked 4-16 the last day, and like they're in line to do that again in another very impressive display.
Well, they've gone on impressive scoring bursts since Donnelly got Queen's second point. They've added a goal and two. DCU had 2-1 on the board before Queens got their first point.
Get on the break!
Donnelly laid it off well. McBride, he's come forward to win ball and make an impact. That's incredible battling from McBride. It wasn't off a stamp, he licked it.
Yeah, look, he didn't lick it off a stone, and again he battled well, but just coming out there you see Oran Mallon, who was taken off there with Peter McGrane coming in, and obviously you have problems in defence and you take off the full forward. That's always the danger, but I'm seeing that from a forward's perspective.
McAvoy slips, gets it away to Bogue.
Move the ball out of contact!
Bogue wins a free in. 2 minutes on the black card for the Queen's player.
Yeah, so he'll start warming up again, but look, it is a case now that they're looking for a free, but it's on the 45 metre line, and while it's 45 metres, it looks very far away from this vantage point.
Liam Downey about to start his warm up to go back in 2 minutes. The free about to be struck by Luke Donnelly. Scored 1-2 against Jordanstown in the first round. That one's drifting. It might stay in though. No, well it does. Well done McBride, but unfortunately it was a yellow jersey rather than a green one that collected it. Back there was Alex Byrne.
Yeah, and it's just giving possession back. It really needed to go dead just to kill the momentum, and obviously there was only 2 minutes on the clock, and it would have added a wee bit more into that where they would have got back to 15.
Hughes. Well taken by O'Dell. It's unusual from O'Dell, but it works.
Yeah, he's just one of those players, he's got all the touches, you know, and his movement is brilliant.
O'Dell, and it's clear and obvious that Desi Farrell sees something in him. Here's O'Dell, nice dummy. Soloing with the right. Does he fancy a shot with the left? No, he doesn't.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he has on the left there, but he thought about it 2 or 3 times and took the solo, but probably the sensible option at this stage is just to keep recycling and wait to see if they can get any movement inside.
Crean moved it outside. Shane Walsh. Crean.
But what you can't see off camera, Rob Finnerty's movement has been brilliant, and then whenever he gets back to the middle, he's just demanding to put it in high.
PJ Masterson. Hughes. Finnerty running in front of him. Well taken. Bill Carroll. That's a delicious point from Bill Carroll.
Yeah, it is, and again it's just so easy, but when you look at it, you know, outside of the 2 shots they've kicked wide, like in terms of their shot conversion's been top drawer. You know, this is stuff that when they're looking at the game probably back, because the game's gone at this stage, you know, they've done everything right.
Highlights of the first half to come. That will make far better viewing for those of you who are supporting DCU than those of you who are supporting Queens. But remember, Queens do not go out of the competition if they lose tonight.
Yeah, and the big thing from a Queen's point of view now is when the second half comes, you know, can they get into it and win the second half even?
O'Dell is unstoppable. Wins the free in. Didn't give up on that.
Yeah, and the thing is, every time he gets the ball, he wants to take somebody on, but he's doing it in the right areas, whereas Queens are having to take players on the way out of defence, and the physical size of DCU is, you know, is there to be seen. You know, they look really, really good in that department.
Hard to see into that corner, but I think it's Shane Walsh of Nafina and Meath.
Yeah, Shane Walsh kicking it, and again it should be simple for a player of his standard, and it is. And it just keeps him tipping on, and like there's a, you can't see it, the noise has went out of the Queen's players, and the sidelines even got quiet. They just need something to spark them into life again.
I'm sure Walsh will be a big part of Colm O'Rourke's plan. All the best pundits are managers. Colm O'Rourke and Kevin McStay. Finnegan. Yourself, Conley, obviously.
Thanks, Oisin. I was waiting on that.
I was setting it up.
Yeah.
I said I'd leave it for a second just to see how you'd react. Let's see how DCU react here as Queens go on the attack. Rory Donnelly unfortunately shanks it wide.
Yeah, and look, it's just a case that they've snatched at it again. It wasn't on, they were approaching half time. Well within his right to have a go, but just as you see, the teams, Queens are down in their hunkers, whereas the DCU players are running in, and at this stage you can just look at it and you can just see the difference in body language. And look, I don't know how Conor Deegan changes this from a Queen's point of view. They look completely deflated coming in, but as you say, they're not out of the competition, so the question is, how do they salvage something out of this game?
And that is important, isn't it?
It's massively important, because like if they get a keen draw, you know, and they get another win, like the back door in the main competition of the All-Ireland, you know, if you get a nice draw, get up and running again. Obviously Queens had been preparing all week to play the game in the Dub. They'd prepared on Tuesday, they'd prepared on Thursday, and it didn't happen, and here we are. So there was a lot of stuff that probably they're looking at thinking, it just didn't go to plan. But they have to get something out of this. Obviously what they have on the bench are going to have to use, but they have to regroup here at half time and come out like at 3-8 to 3 points. The game's gone, but can they win the second half? Can they salvage something out of it? That's the big thing. And again, I don't know where Conor Deegan can get them going out of that. That's the dangerous bit for them.
Rob Finnerty is a goal machine. He got 2 the last time. He's got 2 tonight. He'll get many more throughout his career for club, county and college. He has got 2 in the first half, along with McGann from Longford. Fantastic goals they were as well. 3-8 DCU, 2 points for Queens. We'll be back with the second half. For now, though, we'll let you check out what happened in the first half, just in case you missed some of it, just in case you joined us late, with the highlights.
Back, and they've just protecting the top of the D, which you'd expect with that full forward line.
That's a brilliant shot and a fantastic finish. Finnerty for Queens. McAvoy, another player you'd know all about from your adventures in Down. That's dropped inside by Hughes and buried again. Keeps his composure. By hook or by crook, he got that pass away to Donnelly, who sails it over.
Yeah, brilliant score.
Out of the hands of O'Dell, who regathers, tries to poke it through, finds his man. And it's a well taken point in the end. Shane O'Donnell back up, but unfortunately without the ball. DCU in behind again. It's Finnerty.
Oh, Finnerty.
He was, well, he got a bit of luck with the bounce. It is a second goal for Finnerty. Well taken, Bill Carroll. That's a delicious point from Bill Carroll.
Yeah, it is. And again, it's just so easy.
And welcome back for the second half of this Electric Ireland Sigerson Cup encounter between DCU Dóchas and Queen's University Belfast. Safe to say, Conleth Gilligan, that Queen's have a mountain to climb in the second half.
Yeah, they have, and just looking down here to see is there any changes, and so far we can't see anything as such, but look, they've it all to do. It's a case now of, for me, can they win the second half? Can they take some positives out of it to head for a draw, which they'll need to be kind to them.
Our referee is Andrew Smith. Just in case you're only joining us now, DCU in the yellow, Queen's in the green. Queen's also in the red. They really need to get a few early scores in the second half, but it's DCU who take the fight to them through Alex Byrne. Tugged back by Tiernan Bogue, wins the free in.
Yeah, and at this stage, you know, they look to be back in the groove again. They won the ball back from the throw-in, and they're just going at it again.
Bill Carroll laid off to PJ Masterson. Slaloming through was Masterson. God, he's passed away well. DCU so quick in just moving it around and getting it into space and getting it to shooters, including O'Dell, who doesn't take the shot on this time. Now it's Shane Walsh, who is being watched by his inter-county manager Colm O'Rourke, who's here tonight. That or Colm O'Rourke's long-lost twin. Didn't get to run down and check if it was him, but it looked like him.
Yeah, I think that was him, and again, he'll have impressed with Walsh. He's been everywhere, you know, physically big and looks like a player that can really move on.
They're really stretching it out, DCU. They love to use the width of this pitch, and it is a very, very wide pitch. That's McGann. Still going, loses it.
Yeah, really good defence by Queen's, you know, and that they have made it hard. They're starting to defend right in and around the top of the D, and they've got a double up there in the players, but it's the ability to break out. They've invested so many people in defence that they now have nobody up front.
Dan Higgins, you can see his frustration. He had a lack of options. Did find one though, and that option has done very well with the ball. Donnelly. They spotted a man in space. He has the chance.
Yeah, much better. Absolutely much better. And that was sub Peter McGrain from Ballyhagan. Really good score. And again, it came from the turnover. And that's the thing that Queens have to do. And just build on that now. Can they get the kick out? But they didn't press it hard enough. Immediately, they just drifted into that defensive position. And that will be their Achilles heel.
Well, it's a good start to the second half for Queens. Just their third point of the match. And as you say, Conleth, even if they don't win, even if they don't get near DCU here, it is important for them to build a bit of momentum and finish with a bit of a flourish so they can maybe put a more positive spin on the game ahead of whatever their next encounter is or whoever that's going to be against.
Yeah, and again I would imagine like Conor Deegan's thing will be, right, let's get something to take home with us here, because it's a long way home whenever you don't have anything. They're now winning the half 1-0. You know, can they build on that? And again, defensively they get numbers back and turn it over well, but it's just the transition to get up the field again. Donnelly
got the pass away despite the attentions of Shane O'Donnell. Queens go direct. It's 2-on-2 inside. That's a good take. Friel laid it off.
Yeah, and Keelan Friel from Balahi, he spent last summer in America, and he took L out there, and he didn't get home to play the club championship. Would have been a big loss for Balahi.
O'Hare didn't quite catch it right.
Yeah, and that's his second shot at the posts, and again, both of them outside of the right that just didn't connect. The contact has to be perfect in them situations, and you know, he's in a good enough position. But again, it's just been a more positive start from Queens.
Fintan Canavan from Down is also in for the second half for Queens. Again, another player you'd know all about from managing managing in Down.
I think he's Bransford. Again, I don't know that much about him, but again, he'll want to put a stamp on this game and see what he has.
Corbett, keeper fumbles, comes out to McGann. McGann squeezes it over. Good score.
And that's 1-1 from McGann in the game. You know, again, a great return for him. And again, he just does look like a player that has got everything. You know, he's light in stature, but his balance and his ball carrying ability and his work rate has been brilliant here. But again, that should have been dealt with a wee bit better by Cassidy. Referee not happy with people behind the goals here. And again, just in the first half, we said that Oran didn't get a yellow card, and he did, and maybe that's why he was taken off.
Intercepted. Great catch by Alex Byrne. 2 county titles with Naas and County Kildare. Unfortunately, the pass didn't match the catch, and Rory Donnelly passes it out of defence. Bogue wants it and gets it. This is a bit better. Canavan. Put it in as a shout at Canavan. Is he going for it or dropping it in? In the end, it's a bit of nothing.
Yeah, he went for it and he kind of got caught between two stools. He didn't know whether to kick it in or whether to go for the shot, and he kind of got caught. But again, it has been more positive. And again, look, it's a case that they just need to go. But the kick out, they're not putting any pressure on it, and they're allowing the DCU team just to build in. And they're so comfortable in possession that immediately, without any contact, they're inside the Queen's 65.
Shane Walsh. Turning, twisting, passing. Finds O'Dell.
Yeah, and O'Dell, and his 2 touches there, he soloed with the left, soloed with the right, and then kicked with the left again.
Finnerty's pass is intercepted. Now, can Queens do something with the possession? Luke Donnelly. Donnelly into a man who's covered by 3 or 4 defenders. That's a good hand in, very smart defence. And that's Crean.
Yeah, but it's just they're isolated, and he did have to kick it to Keelan Free there because he'd made the runners in front, but it's just the isolation. They can't get enough men forward whenever they defend in numbers.
Crean, who got to the All-Ireland Under-20 final with Roscommon in 2021, played with his now college teammate Bill Carroll, or played against his now college teammate Bill Carroll.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of the Sigerson Cup, is that they get playing outside of their comfort zones, and players they're normally up against and their foes, they become friends.
Finnegan. Again, they're trying something a bit more direct. But again, DCU have the numbers back. It's Hughes. Goes back to the goalkeeper, who's had a quiet enough night, O'Hanlon. Well taken. Bill Carroll. Shane Walsh. Well taken by McCann.
Yeah, and in fairness to Queens, they're defending the way I would imagine they would have tried to defend it in the first half.
Corbett. Try to find a pass. Couldn't quite get it to Costello. Referee spots a foul free in for DCU.
Yeah, very brave by Costello, obviously. He was reaching for that ball and he went for it and he won it and he got the free, and that's what you want at this level. It was there. The pass was probably a wee bit too far forward, but it gives probably Finnerty another go at the posts. It's actually Shane Walsh in a very kickable position.
Right over the black spot. Fantastic from Shane Walsh.
Yeah, he didn't waste any energy putting it too high. It was just enough to get over, and again, that just keeps everything confidence going. And we've got a sub coming on here now on the Queen's team. We'll just take it, get it for you.
I think coming in is Clancy, Padraig Clancy from Clonduff.
Yeah, Clonduff, yeah, as ex-manager. Kieran McBride will be here. Clancy, very, very talented player. He's taking a position up around the middle, in the half forward line. Looks like they're pushing Paddy Finnegan inside.
I confused my Offaly men, by the way. Cream would have played against Jack Bryant of Offaly in that Under-20 All-Ireland final, but now they play together. Here's Costello. Spotted the run and the time and space that Alex Byrne had. O'Dell. Byrne continued the run, but he was well covered.
Yeah, it's been a difficult night for Diarmuid Barker, having to look at O'Dell. His movement and everybody around him has just been something to behold.
Walsh. DCU trying to find a way through. Might take a bit of time, but they've generally found it. Corbett. Nice ball, nice catch. Will it be a nice finish? No, but it was clever play from O'Donnell, who kept it alive.
Yeah, his first touch was exceptional there under great pressure.
Shane Walsh. Byrne was free on the wing. Now he gives it to Byrne. Walsh.
Yeah, he done really well, got a free.
Is that a harsh free?
No, I think he done well. He took in, he cut inside him and he took his ground, and there was a tackle over the shoulder. And anytime you put a hand over the shoulder, it's always going to be a free in. And again, I think he got a bang after it with the second, but somebody's going to get away with that one.
I'm sure there's many people watching who are glad that I'm not a referee if I even question that one.
Yeah, no, like I think
they like when you tackle the ball effectively.
Depending, yeah, like
yeah.
Once you reach in from behind over the shoulder, like it's always going to be a free.
Here's Shane Walsh. His second in a row if it goes over, a third in a row for DCU, responding to the first point of the second half, which came from Queens, and that's Shane Walsh again.
Yeah, and outside of that one effort that Shane Walsh kicked wide of a free from the sideline, his kicking has been flawless, both him and Finnerty. And again, when it comes to winter football, if your ability to score your free kicks is massive.
Ball breaks kindly for McAvoy, wins the free.
Yeah, and he's took a bang here. I'm not sure if he was cramping but again, it was brave. You know, he went in for that, got right under the break and done very well, and that was a ball Queens needed. But look, as you see, DCU just retreat into that position. You know, Masterson's is the man organising at the back. He drops in and everybody's working for him. Baker
tries a risky one, which doesn't work out, and falls for O'Dell, who's popping up all over the place. Clancy working hard there, but unfortunately for him couldn't get the possession back. Here's Shane O'Donnell. Plenty of options for O'Donnell.
Yeah, and Queens have done much better. You know, like the Corbett and the Finnerty have been curbed really well, but it's just the possession out the field, and they just can't get the ball back. And Shane Walsh has probably been the best player in the pitch in the second half.
That's his attempted pass. It's a free out though.
Yeah, when you're looking at positive, defensively, Queens have been much better. Baker has been more solid, as has Lorcan McBride, you know, Rory Donnelly. They've been very, very good at the back in this second half.
Jack Bryant, a man we mentioned a couple of minutes ago, is now on the pitch. What a stellar year he had when Offaly won that under-20 All-Ireland. Great occasion, that. One of the best I've ever been at, I have to say. Probably because it was two counties that weren't what you'd call regulars in All-Ireland finals.
Yeah,
not for a long time anyway.
And again, he's slight in stature, but like they're going to need something out of him. And I suppose, interestingly, I'm not sure whether Purcell, who plays for Kilmacud Crooks, is even tugged out here tonight. He came on as a sub in the Jordanstown game, so they're maybe saving him for the club final, which is understandable.
James O'Hara has also come in for Queens. O'Hara from Keady and Armagh. There he is. Good hurling territory as well, that. Finnegan.
Yeah, I think at this stage DCU are probably looking at saving players now. Obviously there's a lot of players would have a lot of load in terms of county football and the number of games that have played in the last sort of 10 to 12 days, so they'll probably start making changes now and they'll run probably all 5.
And obviously this game is later than they would have anticipated, so you have to work with that as well. It won't be an overly long turnaround. I know they're young, but these games still, even when you're winning them, as Shane Walsh heads off, even when you're winning them, take an awful lot out of you.
Yeah, look, they do, and again, when it comes to Sigerson, you want your players as fresh as they can be, so these players won't be doing a huge amount of training, but the load of games is what makes it dangerous.
Luke Donnelly. gets a point.
Yeah, and that just keeps them going and it just gives them something to build on, but they really want to push heavy in this kick out just to see if they can get it. They've got a sweeper back full time in front of Finity, and you're thinking at this stage, you know, do you go and try and not give them primary possession because it's just too easy for them to get out?
Hughes gets it away well. Crean. Hughes is one of those players that if he was playing in a first division county or a Division 1 or 2 county, you'd know an awful lot more about him.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of the Sigerson Cup. You know, there's players that are maybe playing in Division 3 and 4 who don't get the spotlight, and they're able to be seen alongside the Lurkin O'Dales and the Rob Finnertys, and they're up there and they're every bit as good.
DCU up there again. The shot is released from Byrne and it's wide.
Yeah, and look, at this stage it's immaterial whether it goes over or not. You know, the game's done for Queens. It's just a case now that if you're in the DCU team, can you stay in? And as subs come on, they want to say, can they force them way into the team?
And if you take it as the second half alone, it's 3-2 to DCU.
Yeah, and that's pretty much as Queens could have asked for.
Well, they'll be asked a few more questions here defensively. DCU not in any rush. Crean. Hughes. Masterson playing under his county manager here as well, Paddy Christie, the boss of DCU, also managing Longford, and he told all of his players, I want you playing college football, and if you don't, there better be a good excuse.
Yeah, look, and again you can see the trust he has in Masterson. Masterson is controlling everything that happens left and right.
But I mean all college football, like all of his players, regardless of what college and regardless of what grade.
And again, like, you know, I suppose in one sense I can understand where he's coming from. You know, college football has been big for him. I know a lot of county managers won't have the same perspective because all anybody's really interested in is probably what's right for the team. But I suppose taking players as a whole, you know, it's important that if they're at college they get that experience. And obviously the competitions like the McKenna Cup, the O'Byrne Cups, you know, there's just a lot for players to prioritise at the moment.
The referee held up a yellow card there. There was a few players around, so I'm not sure exactly who he gave it to. We will get that clarified. At this stage of the match, it doesn't affect it, but we still want to cross the T's and dot the I's.
Yeah, well, O'Hare's come onto the sideline here, so I'm not sure exactly what has happened, whether there's been a black card here. But again, that's the one thing they didn't need, if that is the case.
O'Donnell at pace. Has Byrne with him. Goes outside instead. Grant. Blocked down. Falls to green rather than yellow. DCU a little bit casual there. Sean McCarthy. Spotted a good run. That's O'Hare. O'Hare has a few to aim at inside. Well taken. Sean McCarthy. Sean McCarthy has to go for it. Does. He's unlucky.
Great save. I think it come with a hand. I think O'Hanlon got a hand to that, and again, well within his right to go for it. Again, it was the perfect height for the goalkeeper, but again, he had to have a go. They've got a 45 for their trouble here, and if they could just kick this over, and it just keeps the scoreboard tipping over for them.
Well, O'Hanlon was a passenger for most of this game, but he got involved there. It was a very good save.
Yeah, Luke Donnelly again had a go from range after the quick 45 and went wide, and I suppose, look, it was well worth going for, but they just need to go really hard for the kick out, see if they can just force anything. Could they get a goal just to really give themselves something to build on?
I imagine the constant switches and postponements didn't help, but I know this is massively simplifying it, but DCU have turned up tonight. Queens haven't for large periods of it anyway.
Yeah, they haven't. Look, we touched on it. They were already huge favourites going into the game, but the dub, obviously somewhere Queens are used to playing, they would have had a bigger home crowd. To coming down here tonight, you know, obviously the travelling, there's just different things that upset them, and they needed everything to go for them, and just conceding a goal right from the throw-in just wasn't going to be conducive to anything that they needed.
Hughes with a very tidy pass down the line to Bryant. Byrne. Masterson. Masterson continues the run. He wants it back on the 1-2. Doesn't get it though. but the run does draw defenders. Here's Finnerty. Well taken. And fantastically finished. Really fine score by McGroddy.
Yeah, a great score by McGroddy, but it was Finnerty. He came out, and again, in the second half, he hasn't had to be any better than he's been. But when he came out, he took 2 people, and he had a fist pass that took out 3 defenders. And in McGroddy, a great score.
Fantastic finish. Has featured for the Donegal Miners in the past. McGroddy showed an inter-county level of quality with that finish. Man from Downings. Absolutely beautiful part of the world. Finnegan. McBride. O'Hare. Finnegan. Clever ball by Finnegan.
Yeah, it wasn't. Look, and to be fair to Finnegan, he has worked really hard tonight. He's been all over the pitch, and he's really tried. And again, the one thing about Queens, they haven't give up. It would have been easy to put their head down, but they haven't give up. They've worked, and again, they've won a free kick.
McGrain and Canavan combining there and winning the free close to goal.
Yeah, and look, if they can just score this, keep the scoreboard tipping over. But I'd really love to see them, going for something now. They've got probably just over 10 minutes to see where the scoreline can go, and just take a wee bit of the bad luck off it.
Rory Donnelly, and it's rare you'd say this about a player who's in a team that are losing 3-12 to 4 points, but he's played well tonight. He's never given up.
Yeah, look, and I suppose he's had a brilliant year for Carrickmore. Obviously unlucky to lose out to Ergil Kieran, but at a young age to captain your team's a big thing.
No breeze to speak of, good conditions. Cold, but good.
Yeah, look, and again, that's a good score, and they just needed that to keep in touch.
It's also the first time tonight that they've scored back-to-back. Canavan. Higgins. Didn't quite catch it right. We know he can shoot.
Yeah, look, given the 3 points, 3 brilliant points he scored the last day, again, he has been quiet, and I suppose by its nature, Matthew Costello sort of matched up with him for size and was able to nullify him for kickouts, and while he started brightly, he's just drifted out of the game a wee bit, but probably the fact that Queens were starved of possession for long periods was part of that as well.
Another Donegal man arriving on the pitch, McGeehan in for Queens from St Eunan's Letterkenny. Back him up. Byrne. They never look in any way panicked, even when they've 2 or 3 opposition players around them. Here's Byrne.
Yeah, they do look like a team that have played a lot and they've worked on a lot of stuff. They really look really well coached.
Began trying to pick a pass again, but it's intercepted. Finnegan, good defending. Those little moments, those might give them a bit of confidence going into the next game.
Yeah, it's those things that they have to build on.
Brave by Baker.
Yeah, and Baker's had a very good second half. Not only has he, kept O'Dell quiet, but he's also been able to drive forward in an attack.
Here, clever ball to McGeehan, laid off to Baker. Baker with the diagonal. I was about to say the kind of ball that defences and goalkeepers don't like, but they handled it without a problem there.
Yeah, look, that was like feeding buns to a bear. The 3 men sitting in there, and there was going to be no judge. They just had to keep the ball recycled and get into better positions.
Shane O'Donnell. Bill Carroll. Carroll wants it back, gets it back. Carroll laid it off, great work. But a wide in the end.
Yeah, look, but probably worth going for. It was a case there that
David Lacey, I think it was,
David Lacey had to go, and again, those players that are coming on, they're putting their hand up to sort of look. Can they get a game the next day? Can they be that player off the bench? Because obviously there's tougher games to come for DCU, and which player is going to come off the bench and make a real difference?
David Lacey unlucky not to win a county title in Dublin this year, beaten by Kilmacud Crokes in the final. DCU looking for more. Good pass by Corbett. McGann was fouled.
Yeah, and they're going to take it back again. He done really well with the advantage, but referee probably should have let that one go. But once he blew the whistle, he had to call it back. But again, when you're looking at sort of the better players in the pitch, McGann has definitely been up there because he's the one player right through both halves. He's been really consistent, showing for every ball, and he's been a constant thorn in the side. And Sean McCarthy's a good player, and he has just been tortured the whole game by him.
David Lacey, who could nail them from way further out than this. Happy enough to tap this one over. He could do it with his eyes closed.
No, he's not happy with that ball. And
no, he's not happy with the ball. He's happy with the position, though.
He's taken absolutely no chances from the 20-metre line. So, again, just why should he? And free kickers and any wee thing gets inside their head can put them off. So, as usual, stance, left foot, right foot. The question is, will it go over the bar? And it will.
Lacey has been involved in the senior panel as well as the Dublin under-20 setup.
Yeah, and at this stage it looks like they've 312 on the board. They may not hit the dizzy heights of 416 like the last day, but it has been comprehensive from a DCU position.
McBride missed it. Well taken by Costello. PJ Masterson. Bill Carroll. Again, they work it down the flanks. McGann, he has popped up everywhere tonight. McGann looking for another score. Unlucky.
Yeah, just in the position, just pops up everywhere off the post and wide, and again he would have deserved that. And again, he has been everywhere. And again, at this stage, we're looking at Callum O'Hare. Obviously, did get a black card at that stage because he's coming back on for what will be the last sort of 5, 6, 7 minutes of the game.
DCU very much the favourites for this, but we did expect it to be closer. Here's Mark Cully.
Yeah, and look, the thing was, Queens probably did have a really good plan, but they didn't get implementing it because they'd lost 2 goals inside the first couple of minutes, and then they had to come out, and everybody's a plan to get a punch in the nose.
Alex Byrne went outside. McGroddy. He's jinxy, isn't he, McGroddy?
He is, yeah. Look, he really wanted to do it himself. He's here to say, look, I'm ready for a position, and again he just took too much out of the ball, and that's something that DCU haven't done. They've used the ball really well.
Finnegan driving out of defence. Despite all the attention that's on him, does get a pass away to Bogue. Very good play. Clancy.
Done really well because it looked like he was going to double bounce it. Really improvised well.
Fine pass to Rory Donnelly. Put it in the net is the call. O'Hanlon makes the save.
Yeah, I think it just wasn't going to be his night. Hanlon, 2 great saves. Again, if Queens had one of those goals, it would have definitely changed the scoreline in terms of how it looks from the outside.
Grant. Always a runner off the shoulder for DCU. That time was Shane O'Donnell. Grant and O'Donnell, the 2 Donegal men combining. Grant actually played for Donegal in the McKenna Cup this year.
Yeah, I don't think O'Donnell has maybe featured in the McKenna Cup yet this season.
Corbett. It's my first time seeing him up close. He is a big unit, isn't he?
Yeah, like I didn't expect him just to be as physically big, and like he's rangy, and he just seems to have everything in the game. Now, I know the second half he's been probably isolated a wee bit and he's played out the field, but when they were moving inside, the danger was just everywhere.
He's exactly what Cork need.
Yeah, and I think I've seen a podcast somebody tipped Cork to have a really good season.
Well, they're playing in the McGrath Cup against Kerry tonight. Whether they win, lose or draw that, it's not necessarily an indication of a good or bad coming season, but certainly they look like they're building. Yeah, and I suppose you look at all those sort of pre-season competitions where they didn't used to hold much merit. Now, because they're such close proximity to the start of the league, teams' forms is what they're looking to bring into the first league game. that falls under, that didn't quite catch it right. David Lacey there.
Yeah, and Lacey's had a couple of chances there, but he just hasn't caught either of them.
Here. Donnelly. Well taken.
Oh, what a tackle. That was just exceptional. You know, and I think, I can't see who, I just didn't see who it was. But a tackle in from behind with a punch, like that was textbook.
McGann got the possession anyway. I'm not sure if it was him who made the tackle initially. Donnelly with an unusual fist of the ball. The referee says play on. He'll have to stop it now because that looks like a fairly serious knock.
Yeah, looking back, it was Keelan McGann. Like, he has been absolutely everywhere. That was brilliant. And again, now there's somebody down. Yeah, and it was McGann that got the bang, and it was heavy, but again, I think it was accidental.
Well, after the highs of the win against Ulster University, Jordanstown, as they're more commonly known, Queens have come back to earth with a bit of a bang tonight, but they have the chance to enter orbit again next week because they're not out of the competition. But as Paddy Christie said to me today, you want to win this game because it makes the route that bit easier. O'Hanlon allows his defence to deal with that, getting in to take it.
Yeah, and the win here tonight, not only does it sort of make sure you don't have to play an extra game, but it also allows you to watch the other teams coming through, and you get a better sense for how to shut teams down.
Glennon laid it off. Corbett. Maybe he'll get it back. He does. To a dummy. PJ Masterson made the run, didn't get the ball. Good delivery, fine pass.
Just in the defence there, Callum O'Hare was involved in a couple of tackles, and obviously at a black card he just needs to be very careful here because another card will signal in his end of the game.
Glennon. Lacey, cool as a breeze. Had Glennon with him, went out longer instead to Byrne. Bouncing it through McGroddy. McGroddy wanted it back, didn't get it back, but again, it's just such a feature with DCU. So much running off the ball. You give it and you move, and you might get it back, you might not. Yeah, but they don't seem to mind if they don't.
And have strike runners coming all the time, and they're coming off different angles, and there's run bys, and just the work rate off the ball from forwards, even getting selfless stuff. It's very, very good.
Bill Carroll. Corbett gave it back to him. Carroll. Did well to get out in front there. Made it his David Lacey. Again, DCU don't need scores, so they're happy to just move it around and work it. Lacey. Lacey. McGroddy has a lot of work to do. Doesn't mind hard work though, and wins the free.
Yeah, and look, you called it with McGroddy. You know, he's a player I know nothing about, but he has looked really, really good. His movement, he's jinxy. He looks to have all the tricks, and he's now getting a wee bit of handbags here, but I think based on his size, he's not going to get involved in that. He's won the free and done really well with that.
Is Gaelic football the only sport where jinxy actually means something? You know exactly the kind of player he is by using the word jinxy.
Yeah, and look, I think he's every bit of that. And I suppose, look, when he came off the ball for that last attack, you know, once he got in, and he took McCarthy's ground, and McCarthy had no choice but to take him round the neck.
And 3 and a bit minutes now into injury time. I'm sure from the Queen's point of view, they just want to hear that final whistle and get on the bus and get home, regroup.
Yeah, and look, you know, when the next game comes, you know, they'll have to look at this and go, well, look, how do we improve on it? And, you know, they just needed to get a better start tonight. Yeah. And as we said at the top of the show, how they started was going to determine how they were going, and they wanted to keep it tight, and it just never got going because just the quality inside that DCU have is just incredible. And, you know, for any defence to take them on, you know, you're going to have to be at the top of your game.
Unfortunately for Queens. They will end on 14. Just confirmation that O'Hare has been sent off. The second black card.
And I did see earlier, you know, he looked a frustrated figure, and a couple of tackles he was very over aggressive, and I just felt that he just had one of those nights where the next ball he was going to hit a tackle and he was going to go, and that's exactly what happened.
The white flag is raised. Well struck free.
Yeah, at this stage it's just everybody's waiting for the final whistle to get back in and get regrouped from a Queen's point of view.
It was Costello, the Meath man, just to confirm. Will it be the last score of the game? It won't be far off it. That's the last kick from the goalkeeper. A bad night for Queens. They conceded 2 goals within 2 minutes, and it effectively ended the game as a contest. DCU though were good. They really kept the foot on the pedal.
Yeah, they did. And in these games, whenever you do get a big lead and they peter out, teams tend to just let their guard down in the opposition. Yeah, and while they did get a couple of goal chances, you know, David O'Hanlon was equal to them. So DCU will be delighted with that run out. No injuries. They've cracked up another big scoreline. Their defence looked really, really solid. They had more chemistry than Queens, and you know, they're certainly the team to beat.
Not sure there's much more we can add. So keep an eye on the Electric Ireland social media channels, and of course the HECGA social media channels for confirmation of our fixtures next week. The draw for the next round will be made in the next hour or so, I think, so keep an eye out for that actual draw. And then the fixtures that we'll be showing next week will have Fitzgibbon Cup and Electric Ireland Sigerson Cup action next week, so we're looking forward to bringing you that, and I'm sure it'll be closer than tonight. For Queen's University Belfast, they do have the chance to bounce back, and they do have talent, and they showed a bit of resilience tonight. They'll need to show that again next week. For DCU, it's on to the next phase, and they get to effectively skip around by winning tonight.
Yeah, and look, I suppose if you're looking for positives, the positive is they had a better second half. The subs that came on all added a wee bit of something, and I think they'll just have to regroup and go at it again. Okay,
Conley Skilligan, thank you very much. DCU Dóchas Éireann 3-14, Queen's University Belfast 5 points. A final score here from the DCU Sports Ground. A game that was finally played after 2 postponements, the weather causing absolute havoc at this time of the year. So that's where we'll leave it. We'll give you some full-time highlights. You can see some of the best moments of the game, and of course you can watch it back on the YouTube channel or wherever you checked it out tonight. Until the next time, bye-bye.
Back, and they've just protecting the top of the D, which you'd expect with that full forward line.
That's a brilliant shot and a fantastic finish. Finnerty for Queen's. McAvoy, another player you'd know all about from your adventures in Down. That's dropped inside by Hughes and buried again. Keeps his composure. By hook or by crook, he got that pass away to Donnelly, who sails it over.
Yeah, brilliant score.
At the hands of O'Dell, who regathers, tries to poke it through, finds his man. And it's a well-taken point in the end. Shane O'Donnell back up, but unfortunately without the ball. DCU in behind again. It's Finnerty.
Oh, Finnerty.
He was, well, he got a bit of luck with the bounce. It is a second goal for Finnerty. Well taken, Bill Carroll. That's a delicious point from Bill Carroll.
Yeah, it is. And again, it's just
Donnelly. They spotted a man in space. He has the chance.
Yeah, much better. Absolutely much better. And that was sub Peter
Corbett. Keeper fumbles, comes out to McGann. McGann squeezes it over. Good score.
And that's 1-1 from.
Well taken. And fantastically finished.
Really
fine score by McGroddy.
Yeah, great score by McGroddy.